Good morning, folks, and a pleasant welcome. This is the Liberia National Television, and this morning we are coming to you live from the grounds of the Temple of Justice in Monrovia. This is where it is written on the word that justice be done to all men, despite your physical appearance, your wealth in society, but it is said that justice be done to all men. Today is the 26th of March 2025. I'm Aram Talu bringing you this live happening this morning from the grounds of the Temple of Justice in Monrovia. So folks, if you look straight ahead, you will see the Liberian flag up the Supreme Court of Liberia. This morning, you may be aware, on the 12th of December 2024, the embattled Speaker Fonati Koffa, after the Supreme Court of Liberia ruled in favor of the majority black, headed by now House Speaker Honorable Rachel Nangbe Kun, on December 6th. The embattled House Speaker, now former Speaker, took a flight to the Supreme Court, asking the court to interpret her ruling. And on December 6th, during the court ruling that was read by Chief Justice Yo, according to Chief Justice Yo, the Supreme Court cannot do, I'm quoting verbatimly what the Chief Justice said in her ruling. And she said the Supreme Court cannot do what the legislative branch cannot do for herself. And in that ruling, many Liberians have said is followed deepen the current disputes that is currently going on at the 55th National Legislature, and to be particular at the House of Representatives. So it was based on that, the embattled Speaker Councillor Koffa took a flight on December 12th, 6 days after the Supreme Court ruling, asking the court to interpret her ruling. And today is set for the Supreme Court, the full bench of the Supreme Court, to interpret that ruling. And lawyers representing both the minority and the majority black have already started arriving. Upon our arrival here, the arrival of Councillor Fonati Koffa. You know, Fonati Koffa is the former senator of Grand Caymon County, and he's the lead lawyer representing the majority bloc, and also lawyer representing the minority bloc are also here making their way into the Supreme Court, where the bill of information will be heard by the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia. So as it stands, the grounds of the Supreme Court is getting packed. As you can see, vehicles are everywhere. I'm yet to see the former House Speaker Fonati Koffa, but what I can confirm is the lawyer representing the majority bloc, Councillor Fonati Koffa, and former senator of Grand Caymon County, is already here and just made a way to the chambers of the Supreme Court of Liberia. And during the February 10 of court opening in Nimba County, one of the Associate Justice at the Supreme Court of Liberia, Justice Yamin Kwakwekbese, describes the workings of the majority bloc as ultra-virus, which also sparked huge public debates, and as we speak, there's a huge debate still going on. So today, hearing of the Bureau of Information will clearly explain to both the majority and the minority bloc at the House of Representatives to know exactly and to further explain in details regarding the ruling that was done on December 6, 2024. So this is where we are. We kindly ask that you sticking still as we bring you live happening. I'm here to see NN representative, even though this hearing is expected to commence 11 a.m. this morning, and with the time 17 minutes to 11, I'm yet to see any lawmaker from both the majority and the minority bloc. But what I can say is lawyer representing both majority and minority, quote unquote, at many McLean, are here and currently making their way in the chambers of the Supreme Court of Liberia, where the full bench will again interpret her ruling, even though during December 6th ruling that was read by Chief Justice Sanayo, she said the High Court cannot do what the House of Representatives cannot do for herself. That ruling, many says, it is ambiguous, gave more doubt to the workings of the House of Representatives. So as we stand, Liberians are still doubtful. Liberians are still finding it very difficult to know exactly who is wrong and who is right. Right after today's Bureau of Information hearing, we will know exactly who is the legitimate Speaker of the 55th there at the House of Representatives. But as it stands, the grounds of the Supreme Court, the Temple of Justice, there is a free movement. I can say there's a free movement. People are going about doing their regular business, and we are still outside here to see whether we will see members of the 55th who come to be part of this ruling. Of this hearing. But what I can say is the lawyers that are representing both the minority and the majority bloc are here and currently in the chambers of the Supreme Court of Liberia, awaiting 11 a.m. with the time 12 minutes to 11 a.m. I'm still awaiting to see any of the lawmaker who will come to be part of this hearing. But as you can see right ahead, one of the justices are here. As you can see right ahead there, you are seeing JUD3, meaning one of the associate justice is already here awaiting the 11 a.m. hearing of the Bureau of Information filed by former House Speaker Kllr Fonati Koffa. I'm yet to see the man who filed in that particular Bureau of Information, Grand County District, number 2 representative, Geneton Councillor Fonati Koffa. And I'm also yet to see any member of the majority bloc headed by Speaker Rachel Nangbe as well. And I'm also yet to see any representatives yet. I'm also yet to see any representative. But what I can say, if lawyers representing both sides are already here, waiting this bill of information that was filed by Imbato House Speaker Geneton Fonati Koffa on December 12, 2024, just 6 days after the Supreme Court of Liberia ruled calling on the House of Representatives to settle or matter, and they cannot settle what the House cannot settle for herself. So I'm seeing here, Councillor Johnny Momo. I'm also seeing the former Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Daku Moba, also making a way in the Supreme Court of Liberia. Other lawyers are also here. So at this time, folks, we will take a break and resume in subsequent time. We will take a break now and make our way the Supreme Court of Liberia to listen to the bill of information filed by Imbato House Speaker Geneton Fonati Koffa, calling on the Supreme Court of Liberia to interpret her own ruling. In that ruling, the Chief Justice says a court cannot do for the House of Representatives what they cannot do for themselves. So it is based on that. Many Liberians and pundits have said the ruling is ambiguous. I followed deep in. So I'm seeing Musa Hassan Belete and others. I'm seeing Musa Hassan Belete, Marvin Cole, also Dixon Sibo are also here. So these are folks from the minority bloc, and I'm also seeing some of Joshua. I'm seeing Dixon Sibo. They are making their way from the Supreme Court of Liberia. So folks, like I've been saying, I'm seeing Honorable Yeke Koluba dressed up in the traditional clothes, making a way to the Supreme Court of Liberia. So we're here.
Honorable Yeke Koluba, you just interrupted the previous of the temple.
Tradition person, I'm not a Joseph Walker. Joseph Walker is not a tradition person.
So what do you expect?
We will not disrespect the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is where all of us should come. And we should respect the people and know that whatsoever decision they make, I will respect it. If the decision is not in our favor, I will respect what the Supreme Court.
Well, you said honor Speaker
If the Supreme Court recognize him, I will say honor him. I got nothing different.
You mean Richard
I want all of us to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, if the Supreme Court recognize him, I will say honor him.
Will you call your colleagues to do things?
Well, I'm calling on my colleagues to respect the Supreme Court. This is the only place we get. This is the only respected branch of government we have in this country. The executive is not respected. The legislature is not respected because we are all 419 now people and criminals. So the Liberian people do not have respect for us.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so
district number 10, Representative Yeke Koluwa, according to him, he will fool it abide by ruling from the Honorable Supreme Court of Liberia. Mind you, today is the build of information hearing by the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia. This bill of information comes 6 days after the Supreme Court of Liberia ruled calling on the House to settle her own matter. So I'm seeing Honorable Austin Taylor. Austin Taylor is from the this is Representative Marco Thomas. I'm seeing Representative Honorable James Cllr, Honorable Marco Thomas. Honorable Koya, good morning and welcome.
Morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning, how are you doing?
Now you are proceeding to the Supreme Court after 6 days when the Supreme Court rules. And
After what, 6 days?
yes, the Supreme Court ruled on December 6. 6 days after Councillor Koffa filed a bill of information, which was on December 12, that's 6 days, and calling on the Supreme Court to interpret her own ruling. You are Antonia Law. How could you interpret that?
Not Antonia Law. Perspective.
Okay, perspective. Yeah. So how can one interpret her own ruling?
Well, I have that kind to interpret ruling. I do not have that jurisdiction or that power, that authority. The authority to interpret the opinion of all opinions for the Honorable Supreme Court or any other for the executive is quite lies in the hand of the Minister of Justice. So the Justice Minister did it and interpreted the opinion. So people who felt this in front charge with it, file a bill of information. But I would say this, I think if I were on the liquor thing, I think there was a little cash that they missed. I think one of the things they have done right after the opinion was rendered by the Supreme Court, they should have moved for a petition for re-argument. A petition re-argument who have avoided the Justice Minister interpreting the opinion for the executive, but the re-argument have an opinion. But in the absence of that, I just say to you, coming to bill of information, what next that is in there? The opinion is clear.
What more do you expect from today? What more do you expect
if the Supreme Court ruling go against you? Will you respect whatsoever the interpretation says?
Absolutely, there's no way the Supreme Court ruling can go against us. Then she will be contradicting herself. The opinion said to you, anything not consistent with Article 33 and 49 was ultra-virus. Okay. And for the 33 say you must have simple majority we had. For the 9 say you must have a presiding officer, which is the deputy speaker we had. So it means that we acted within the confines of the law.
One of the colleagues just said, whatever decision the Supreme Court,
one of the suspended colleagues, modified suspended colleagues.
Okay, suspended colleagues will say that any decision the Supreme Court comes up with today will be respected.
That tells you that he has accepted the fact that the opinions are against them. Okay. I said the opinion is clear. You must be able to meet Article 33 and 49. 33 says well, simple majority. Did we have simple majority? Yes. 49 says you must have the presiding officer. Did we have presiding officer? Yes. And who was the presiding officer? The deputy speaker. If you read Article 49, it says the House of Representatives shall elect every 6 years a speaker who shall be the presiding officer, a deputy speaker, and other officials for the proper function of the House. So it's clear that the person who did not meet the requirement is Koffa. He didn't meet the requirement.
Okay. So he's the Honorable Cllr of Bon County, District number 2. So folks, we are still here making sure we bring you the happening several lawmakers. We just witnessed the arrival of Bon County District number 2 Representative James Cllr. Also we saw Michael Thomas and other lawmakers also have made their way in the chambers of the Supreme Court of Liberia. So folks, in a moment for now. So folks, in a moment for now, I will be taking a break to move directly to the Supreme Court of Liberia. Majority members listening to hearing in the listen to the hearing into the bit of information filed by former House Speaker Fonati Koffa. But District Number 10 Representative Speaker Kllr made it very clear on LNTV and other media platform that any ruling from the Honorable Supreme Court of Liberia, he as an individual will abide by ruling from the Supreme Court of Liberia. So we are still here. We are still here witnessing, looking at the arrival of representatives who are currently here making their way into the chambers of the Supreme Court of Liberia, awaiting a hearing. And this bit of information. Okay, so any moment from now, it is 11 already. Any moment from now, the bit of hearing at the Supreme Court of Liberia will commence, and the bit of hearing is being done by the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia after the Supreme Court ruled on December 6, 2024, and 6 days after former Speaker Fonati Koffa filed a bit of information before the Supreme Court of Liberia to interpret her own ruling. According to them, the ruling was not clear, it was ambiguous, so the Supreme Court should rule again to know exactly what the Supreme Court meant by the Supreme Court cannot do what they, as the House of Representatives, cannot do for themselves. So folks, again, thank you so much for following LNTV. I'm taking a break to move to the Supreme Court of Liberia. Right after the ruling, I'll come back down here to give you the full happening. But what I can say right now, both members from the minority and majority bloc are currently in the Supreme Court of Liberia. Both lawyers representing minority and majority bloc are also in the chambers of the Supreme Court of Liberia, and both Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Honorable Supreme Court of Liberia are also in their chamber awaiting start of the hearing into the bill of information filed by former House Speaker Fonati Koffa, who hail from Grand County, District Number 2. We are here making sure that we bring you full happening from the grounds of the Temple of Justice in Monrovia. Thank you so much. I'm moving on to the Supreme Court of Liberia to listen to the bill of information and come back to give you the full happening. Thank you so much.